Hello, and welcome. We are live across Facebook and YouTube. Today is a really good day. I'm having a ball. The sun's out. God's good. And I'm here with the lovely John Ennis, who you may have seen working with me the other Friday. He's agreed to come on and have a chat. The way we're going to run it today is we're going to have an opening prayer and then just generally have a bit of a natter about things, all things spiritual. If you have any questions you would like to ask, pop them into comments and we'll pick them up as we go along. I've got a very loose structure that I've got a few questions that popped into my head. Some of them are probably not going to make any sense to anybody, but hey, we'll have a go. We'll see how we are. How's life with you, John?
Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Enjoying the weather.
It's lovely, isn't it? I'm saying it's lovely. It set my asthma off a bit yesterday, but that's by the by. I got a lot of healing energy from last night's service with the lovely Libby Cook. I don't know if anybody saw that on Pastures Green.
Yeah, absolutely lovely evening and such a lovely lady. She really
the energy was incredible, absolutely incredible. I felt so buoyed by them during that service. They took everything off me. My breathing was fine, and it was all good. And just a point of interest, I've got a chat booked with Libby next Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. If anybody wants to pop on and have a look. If I can control her and hold her down long enough to get
you'll be lucky if you can
get some questions answered. Would you like to open in prayer, John, and invite our spirit friends to be around us?
Yep. Heavenly Father, divine and gracious Spirit, we thank you for allowing us to have this time to share together with our friends who are near and far. We respectfully ask that any guides or inspirers from the spirit world who wish to join us here this afternoon to draw close and to use us as their instruments so that we can fulfill their wishes of answering questions and putting other thoughts forward to help people progress along their earthly and spiritual pathway. I also ask just for my guides and my inspirers to draw close so I may convey the messages that they want passing this afternoon clearly and precisely. And we'll now leave this afternoon in your care and in your keeping. And we ask that it's conducted in love, light and truth. Amen.
Amen. That was lovely. Thank you, John. What would you like everybody watching to know about John Ennis?
I'm an old, bald-headed bloke who works for Spirit. Some of you may have seen me in churches. Some of you may have only seen me on the internet, but you all know that I always wear a tie, and I've not got a tie on today. And today it's purely relaxation. Don't get me wrong, Spirit are here. I know Tony can feel them as well as I can.
Yeah.
And Spirit are here. A lot of you may recognise my face, but don't recognise the name. And what a lot of people tell me how they remember me is I'm the man who wears the ties and the belt buckles. And Tony's perhaps going, what the heck is he on about? My ties are always wolves, eagles, or Native American Indians.
Right.
And my belt buckles are always wolves, eagles, or Native American Indians. And I've not got it on today because it's too hot. But when I do psychic suppers, I've got a waistcoat that a lovely medium bought me for my birthday. And it's got my guides on the back of it.
Wow.
And it's come all the way from America.
Fabulous.
So I wear that when I do psychic suppers. Now I'll give Tony another bit of information that he perhaps doesn't know about me. I'm also a minister of religion.
Wow.
Oh,
Cool.
no, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I'm studying.
Yes, although I am primarily a Christian spiritualist myself, as people tuning in will be aware, spiritual people, we all follow different pathways. The organisation I'm a member of is a multi-faith organisation.
Cool. You can give it a plug if you want.
Yeah, it's OHM, or the Owl Healing Ministry.
Oh, yes.
You've heard of them, Tony, haven't you?
I have. We are good friends with, and I've served a church in Scotter run by John
Harper.
John Harper, yeah.
Yes.
Lovely guy. Sending him lots and lots of healing at the moment because I know him. And
it was actually me that got John to join the Owls.
There you go. All things connected.
Everything's always connected, mate.
All things connected. Fabulous. Well, there you go. I've learned a lot about John today. So when or how did you come to realize that you could communicate with those who've gone before?
It was, looking back on it, I've always been able to do it, but I didn't realize until about 15, 16 years ago.
Right.
I had, and this will shock people, but you have to be upfront, you have to face your fears. I had cancer.
Oh, bless.
And I was looking for something different, shall we say. And my wife my wife and her family had always been into spiritualism. And people will find this strange, and you can all have a laugh at my expense. I used to take my wife to a spiritualist church and to evenings in a theatre. And believe it or not, I used to sit outside in the car park reading the paper. And one day, I went in. I said to her, I'm going in. And she went, really? I said, yeah. And I'm not going to mention no names. But there was a lovely lady who was a psychic artist. And she was going around giving messages and handing out pictures to go with these messages. But as she was doing the messages, she was also doing another picture as well. And it wasn't until this picture had finished that she said, normally I go direct to the person. She says, but in this situation, I can't. And she says, I've got to keep giving the evidence till the person puts his hand up. So she started giving this evidence, and your wife's nudging me in the ribs. And I went, in a minute. And anyway, my sister-in-law was sat 2 rows in front of me. And she turned around and she said, if you don't put your hand up, I'm going to do it. And I said, shut your mouth, like, being polite. And anyway, this lady just came out with a one-liner. And my hand shot up in the air. And she went, thank you very much. She says, you could take everything else, couldn't you? I went, yep. She says, but nobody could take that last line, could they? I went, no, they couldn't.
No.
It was just one line that me and my dad had said to each other. And she brought it out. Anyway, this picture she was doing, some people who are listening may understand who this lady is. There was a lady's face, and she gave me all the details for this lady, and I accepted them all. Then she puts her hand over one side of her face. So it's like, you only see that side. And it was one lady, and she puts her hand that way, and it's a different lady.
Wow.
But then she takes her hands away, and it was a third lady. But then she turned the picture sideways, and it was a landscape. And this landscape, everything she gave me was 100% bar one little bit. And it's a little way of what we were talking about before, Antony. I said, can I just say to you, you've got one little bit of it wrong? And she went, what? I said, you said the Black Forest Mountains. She went, yeah, well, that's the only mountains in Germany. I went, no, it's not. I said, that mountain range is the Harvel Mountains, which is in Berlin. I said, I might know that for a fact because I could see them out my living room window because I lived in Berlin for 3 years.
Wow.
And
there you go.
But all credit to her. Do you know what she said?
What's that?
I let my subconscious give you the Black Forest.
That's what we just before this opening we talked about that, didn't we? It's they give you things in your terms of reference.
Yeah.
And if you, the first thought is from spirit, the second thought is from you.
Yeah.
So there we are.
And that lady then, she said to me, I've been doing this many years. She said, and a little bit what you were saying about the lady last night. She said, within a year's time, she said, I will be holding your coattails to go on the journey with you.
Wow.
And it didn't make any sense to me at the time. But a lady came into my life who I'd known as a friend, but she ended up being my mentor. And she guided me along my pathway. And one thing she told me has stuck in my mind ever since. And all the circles I've run and people that I talk to, I always give this one bit of advice. Never let anybody change you. Always be true to you and always be true to spirit.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
But so many people would watch you work, would watch me work, or they might watch Libby work, who we saw last night. Oh, I'm going to copy them. I'm going to copy them.
Yeah, no.
You can't.
No.
Be true to who you are as an earthly person, but also be true to you as the spiritual person and do what spirit want you to do, not what you want to do.
Exactly. It was a similar thing for me. When I was told by the lady who was going to become my mentor, she gave me a reading in the Spiritualist Church. First time I'd ever been in, and she gave me my maternal grandmother and said, they've been pushing you now since you were little.
Yeah.
And you weren't ready. If you're not ready now, this is it sort of thing. You know, they're going to let you just go on your path as you are. And I said, all right, then, where do you want to take me? And I gave myself to spirit and said, I'll work however you want me to work.
Yeah.
And it's worked for me. It has worked for me. But for a lot of people, it doesn't, because you have to have, I can't remember who I was talking to the other day, but they said, all spiritual people will have problems. I think it was Nick when I did the talk with Nick.
Yeah.
Because you have to have lived a certain life to understand how to deliver messages to other people.
Yeah.
Who are undergoing the similar. So unless you're ready, it's not going to work for you. And it sounds like you were at that point in your life where the roads were converging and you were ready to take on that life.
And I'm just going to expand on what you said there. And I know you do, and I know Nick does, and a lot of other mediums do. About every 18 months, 2 years, we sit down, we turn everything off and say, I'm having 2 weeks to myself.
Yeah.
and reevaluate what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's about 18 months, 2 years ago, maybe a bit longer. And I sat down and I looked at what I was doing, listened to what my guides were saying and everything else. And I says, I'm going to pack in. And he went, you can't. I says, yeah. I says, I can't. I says, although I don't remember the messages I give people, I says, because they're not my messages. I says, I've just got this feeling that everything is to do with cancer, strokes and heart attacks. I said, so all my messages are the same. And I said to my wife, who's been very supportive, and she said, well, it's up to you. She said, you've got another week before you need to make your mind up. So I said, well, okay. And anyway, we went to see a medium who none of us knew. And he was going around the room, and they said, right, it's time to finish. And before he sat down, he said, it's not a message, but it is a message. He says, I've got to do this in public. I can't do it in private. And the lady who was chairing went, well, okay. He just come round and he went, the gentleman over there with no hair and glasses. I went, yeah. He says, I don't know who you are. He says, but I'm being told to tell you, you are still working for spirit. You're not repeating messages because you've had 2 strokes and cancer. That's why all those people come through to you.
Yeah.
Because you can pass the message on properly.
Yeah. But, I mean,
that was the biggest kick I needed.
Exactly. It's like we were saying earlier, they give you things in your terms of reference, or things you understand. And yeah, I just find it amazing that you can have that link with people and deliver messages like that. And when I've seen you work twice now, and it just blows me away because you have a lot of empathy with people. Mm-hmm. And like you said, another thing I just want to pick up on quickly is I've gone back to churches many, many times on and off. And when you walk through the door, somebody will come and say, oh, last time you were here and you told me about da 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 da. And it's like, I can't remember. Yeah. There are odd ones. There are odd messages that stick with me.
Yeah. And do you know why?
Go on.
The ones that stick with you are your learning curve.
True.
It's
true.
I'll give you one example because some people might not understand it. I went to this lady to give her a message, and I'm passing the message on, and another lady came in, and I went, and I stopped. They stopped me dead in my tracks, and I went, oh, I am so sorry. I says, I've got to get this right here now. I says, I've got another lady here, and she's gone and stood next to you. I says, but you're the spitting image of each other. And she started crying, and I couldn't get no sense out of her. So I carried on with the message, and I was about to leave, and the spirit lady who was sat next to the earthly lady, she went, I'm not going. You've not told her yet. Oh, and I kept looking, and I said, I can't leave you. This lady says, I can't leave you. I've missed something out. And I'm looking, and suddenly the penny dropped. They had the same pair of shoes on. They had the same pair of trousers on. They had the same blouse on. They had the same cardigan on. They had the same colour hair. Bar one thing. The earthly lady had a parting on the right. The spiritual lady had a parting on the left. Oh, and it's your twin sister, and to confirm it's your twin sister, she's got a parting on the left still. And the lady turned round and went, you're the first person who's given me that in 6 years of her passing.
Wow.
So we have to, if somebody doesn't leave, you can't say, sure, I've got to go on to the next one.
No.
You need to ask yourself and go, what have I missed?
That's something else. If people ask me for a one-to-one reading and they'll say, well, how long does it take? And I'll say, I don't set a clock. because it takes as long as it needs to take to do that reading, to complete that message. So, yeah, like you say, if they don't go, there's a reason why they haven't left.
Yeah.
We've got a question from Philippa Hooper, John. I'll just pop it on screen. How many past lives do you think we have? I've recently had flashes of 3. As it's your show, I'll hand it over to you first.
It's a very, very good question. And it's a question I always say there's never a definitive answer to. Because what I always say is, if you learn your life's lessons while you're here, you don't need to come back.
Yeah.
If you don't learn your life's lessons, then you do need to come back.
Yeah.
Also, I was privileged a few years ago to sit in on a past life regression session with a very, very good lady, just to observe. And it was completely fascinating. And obviously, it's all done in confidentiality, but the lady does do a recording for the sitter. And the gentleman, bless him, he said, I don't understand why I've had to come back. And we played the recording to him, and he says, I still don't understand why I had to come back. And they went, well, don't you understand that you were having a good life, you were enjoying your life, but then life threw up some unexpected issues and you didn't deal with them properly. And what it was, he'd actually took somebody's life, so he ended up in prison. Well, he didn't. He got executed. So we said it's a case of you just have to come back and live the life that you were supposed to have lived. I mean, the hardest one for me is when I have to give a baby to a lady or a gentleman that was a miscarriage, and you have to, or that was stillborn. And you have to explain to them they were never going to take a breath.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
It is.
But sometimes we have to come back that way to experience the birth.
Yeah.
But we don't actually need to live.
No.
I know it sounds a bit heavy, but
No.
It's the way it is.
You've just hit a nerve with me a little bit, because I've experienced that. I had a son that didn't come to earth. He was stillborn. And that's what brought me back to faith.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't let it go. I had to keep questioning, well, why wasn't he worthy of living? And I thought, it suddenly came to me that because that wasn't his lesson for this life, and next time he'll do different things and experience different things. So I'm with you on that one. I think you come back as many times as you need to learn the lessons.
Yeah.
And I do think the people who can't learn the lessons on the other side, and that's my concept of heaven and hell, because I think the people who have committed heinous crimes here learn the lessons when they get to the other side, and they have that learning experience. Yeah. So that's just my take on it. Other people might think differently. Oh wow, we're getting quite a few now. Jessica is asking, it's not one I've thought about. Many mediums seem to have autoimmune illnesses and long-term medical conditions. Why do you think that is? I think again, I think it comes back to what we were saying before about you have to have experienced certain things. I think we said it off camera, actually, so it's worth bringing back. Many mediums have damaged lives because they have to be able to deliver messages in a certain way. I live with a long-term medical condition. I've got a few actually, but it's things I have to experience to deliver messages in a certain way, or to work with spirit in a certain way. And another thing, just throwing it out there, it's a thought that's popped into my head, and it's obviously come for a reason. As mediums, you have to protect yourselves. I wake up in the morning and I say a prayer and I protect myself. I ask for God's protection throughout the day. Before I learned to control this ability, I couldn't close down properly. And they were constantly feeding me things and feeding me emotions. And my mental health suffered, and I couldn't pick myself up. I was drained constantly. Once Jean, my mentor, taught me to close down properly, I picked up. That could be it, Jessica. It could be that they're feeling all this illness because they're not closing down properly. They're leaving themselves open to spirit. Sorry, I've waffled on that question. Over to you, John.
No, it is, because I've had it. I've had other mediums come to me and ask for help. I've also seen it in circle, where people don't let go, and they carry the illness of the person who comes through.
Of course, yeah.
And this is why it's another subject, but I do work very much clairsentiently. So I do get a lot of conditions that people have passed with. I feel that pain. But and some people, they turn around to me at the end of a demonstration and go, "Do you ever get fed up of saying thank you?" And I'm going, "What are you on about?" He says, "In every one of your messages, you always say thank you." I says, "I'm sorry." I says, "I've been doing it for that many years. Thank you is my word to my guides. I've passed the message on. Can you take the condition away?"
Yeah.
And unless I've got the condition or the pain properly, they don't give me the word thank you. And then as soon as I give the word thank you, everything goes away. So this is why I'll say, I know you mentioned it when you were talking to Nick. People who are just starting out, don't do this on your own.
That's so
and
important.
It is a government health warning. Do not do this on your own.
No.
Have somebody who's a little experienced. Sometimes, as it is in everyday life, a little bit of knowledge is very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
And people say to me, "Well, you must know it all." And I go, "I don't know anything." I says, "I go into a church service. I haven't got the faintest idea what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to come next." And I always come away from every service, even on here, I learn something different every time.
Yeah.
And it's about building that library up all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And with regard to the lady who asked the question, I always say to people who sit in my circle, I don't know why the hell you want to give messages, because it's the most dangerous job on the planet. Because if you're not ill beforehand, you will be by the time you finish.
Yeah.
But we all have a set pathway that we have to walk.
Yeah. And it's I find a lot of people, I started out wanting to do healing, but that's not what they had in mind for me.
No.
So they brought me down the platform medium messages type of route. And it isn't about what you want. Like you said, it's all about what spirit want from you at this time.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know if you've seen that one from Belle, but Belle, that's what we've just been talking about.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
yeah, it's about them using your experiences and your life skills to guide you. I think also this one ties in a little bit with what we've been saying. High training to do spiritual healing before this, and I saw lots of colours, faces, smells, but nothing at all now. What's happening, please? Oh, that could be a multitude of things for me. If you've been seeing things previously and you've got nothing now, I can relate a little bit to that, because about 2.5, 3 years ago, I got a lot of problems with my chest, and it turned out I had bilateral pulmonary embolisms. So both of my lungs had blood clots in them. And in the period I was recovering, I lost everything. I didn't have any experience with spirit at all. And I felt like I'd lost an arm, to be fair. I felt like part of me was missing, but I needed that time to recover and recharge. And like John was saying earlier, Sharon, there comes a time when they'll step away to allow you to evaluate where you are now and what's happening in your life, and which direction you're going in. And that could be it. They could just be saying to you, taking a step back, have a think, reevaluate your life, and then come back to it in a little bit. I don't know how you feel about that, John.
Yeah. What I always say to people, as much as spirit want you to be their ambassador, they know when you as the physical being or the mental being need to recharge. This isn't a reading, but it may be you've got something going on in your personal life, or it may be there's matters going on in the family, and these all need sorting out. So what they're doing, they're giving you the time and they're giving you the space so you can sort your own life out. Because I have found over the years, as much as spirit want us in our own way to pass their messages on or to give healing or whichever aspect of spiritualism you're in, they also give us the time and space to look after ourselves and to look after our families.
Yeah.
It may also be as well that you're at a crossroads. I don't know what it was like for Tony, but me, I never wanted to give messages. I never wanted to stand on platform. It didn't appeal to me in the slightest. I only ever wanted to be a healer, and that was the pathway that I started on in spiritualism. I may have been a bit naive and not listened, but as it happened, I went to a church one night with my wife. The medium didn't turn up. The person who ran it went, "You can do this." I went, "No, I can't." He says, "Yes, you can, and I'm going to prove it to you." And as they say, that's history now, because I've been on platform ever since. But it may be that you're at a crossroads. What I would suggest to you, and I know I gave a government health warning about 5 minutes ago, don't do it on your own, but you can do this on your own. I just like you, if you can, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes, turn the phones off, lock your doors and windows, put a nice bit of music on that you like. It doesn't have to be spiritual music. It can be whatever you like. Listen to it and just close your eyes. And in that peace and in that quiet, let them talk to you, because they will talk to you. Yeah. And they will guide you. The piece of music, as soon as that piece of music finishes, you'll open your eyes. You will wake up. Don't panic.
Yeah.
You won't go into trance, but your questions will be answered.
There's something happening, isn't there, that's made them stop for a period of time?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's either in the personal life or they're at them crossroads.
Yeah. Somebody's asked about, I'm trying to find the comments there. Nana passed away back in November 79 and daughter was born months later. Could she be reincarnated? Could be. If you see similarities, I think, between your daughter and your Nana, could be. I think if she's of an age and she wants to, then, like John was talking about, past life regressions could be what's going on.
What I will say on that is my granddaughter was born the day after her great-grandmother's birthday.
Wow.
But she was also born she was born with a very special gift. And yes, she's got a lot of her great-grandmother's traits. I'm not saying it's a great-grandmother because facially wise, she takes after my side of the family, not my wife's side of the family. So although you may see traits, I can't remember if it was your mum or your nan.
Nana.
In the youngster, it may be Nana, but I want to say it's the person, the young child is very much an individual, but they'll have some of Nana's traits inside of them because it'll be their way of guiding them and making sure everything's all right. And I hope this will make sense to you, that they don't make the same mistakes that they made. Not what you made, what they made.
Yeah.
I say so. They're just helping and guiding.
Yeah. We've had feedback from Sharon, the lady who said that the spirit had stepped away for a while. And she's saying it makes sense. There's a lot going off and a lot of stresses in their lives. So it is about giving you time to regroup, regather, and sort out. That's answered quite a lot of what I was going to ask about. Why do you think at the minute people seem to be reaching out to our religion? Because the feed we did a few weeks ago has, I think, over 900 views, and other ones we did have had over 1,000 views, and it just seems that people are reaching out and looking at the minute, and I'm just wondering if you've thought, have any thoughts on why people seem to be turning to.
Yeah, I don't want it to sound as if I'm going on about myself here.
No.
I'm very privileged in respect of I've got a lot of freedom and I've got a very supportive wife and family. And I'm very blessed and very privileged to be invited into a lot of churches and centres to do services. Now, over the last 12 months, I became more and more aware of the congregations changing. Now, I'm an old person, but the congregations were a lot older than me. And suddenly churches and centres that I'd been going to, where we'll say the average age was 55, suddenly the average age is tumbling and it's down to 25 and it's down into the 20s.
Yeah.
Now, just before the lockdown started, if you like the human side coming, curiosity got the better of me. And when I finished a service, I do get quite embarrassed because people come up and say, "Oh, thank you for that message, and that was brilliant. Nobody's brought me nan or my mum or my dad or my sister like that." But I went up to these youngsters, and it was 3 different places, 3 different centres in 3 different parts of the country. But I asked them all the same question. Now, the youngest was 18, the oldest was 26. And in total, there was about 14, 15 of them. And I asked them all the same question. I said, do you mind me asking why you came, why you come here? And is it your first time? And they went, no. They said, we came as a laugh 3 weeks ago. I went, right. I says, oh, so you're one of these, you're going to sit at the back, laugh and giggle at the old people, and then go away and not come back again. They went, yeah. They said, but it drew us in.
Yeah.
And this lady here got a message from a nan who'd only been gone 3 weeks. I went, right. They said, I said, so why have you come back today? They said, well, we're here last week. They said, it's the only place where we're not judged.
Yeah.
I said, what? I said, do you mind? Why? What do you mean by you're not judged? He said, well, like you gave us messages and you weren't bothered. You're here now, you're talking to us. Most people walk past us or ignore us. They said, here, they sort of looked at us the first week. The second week, we got a smile and hello, or nice to see you. And now everybody's chattering. He says, and we just accepted.
Mm.
I said, well, is that important? He went, well, yeah. He says, because I've done it deliberate. He says, I've come with holy jeans on and a hole in my T-shirt. And not one person's said anything about it.
No, exactly.
So they said that's why. The other answers I got were very, very similar. But it was all a case of nobody judges us. They treat us all as individuals. And they'll all pass. They're not passing the time of day. They're actually interested in what we've got to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they said, I mean, one of the young girls, bless her heart, I don't know if she had a rough childhood or what, but she turned around and she went, I've got more mums, dads and nans since I've started coming here than I've ever had in my life. I went, you're only 18? She went, well, that's how I feel. She says, we're all family. So I think not just on the youngsters, because a lot of you will have seen a lot of different age groups coming in. And I think a lot of it is to do, they see church, they see centre, they think, well, we'll just go in and have a look. And the chairperson will go, right, now we're going to sing the first hymn. And suddenly they'll press the button and Spirit in the Sky comes on.
Yeah.
And the old ones are going, but that's not a hymn. And everybody's there and they're all bopping away.
Yeah.
And then the medium will do an address or there'll be a reading. And then they'll go, right, now we'll have the second hymn. And it's Wind Beneath My Wings. And I'm going, hang on, it's a pop concert this is. What's going on here?
I know.
And then the third one, and yes, there may be a hymn. But because of what's happened before and there's music and everybody's swaying from side to side, they get involved in it.
Yeah.
And they don't see the church sign anymore.
No. That's something I picked up with Nick, actually, because I said, I don't know if it was on camera or off, to be fair, but he won't mind me saying it. What we find is the religion in our religion is subtle.
Yeah.
It's not this banging and hellfire and damnation, and it's light, and it, because spirit work on such a high vibration, the energy lifts straight away, and it just, you feel like you want to be up and dancing and singing and chatting and laughing, and it's just, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It doesn't feel like church. It doesn't feel like religion. It is. And it's guided by spirit. Oh, we have a really interesting question from Belle again. One of my mentors says absolutely not on this, yet another medium I know says she often communicates with dementia people still on Earth plane, but she connects with them. Can I have your thoughts? Have you any thoughts on that one, John?
I have. I've got lots of thoughts on that.
So have I.
You are right.
Yes.
Whoever your mentor is wrong. Purely, that may be just their opinion. It may be that they don't work platform anymore. I have had some lovely feedback. When I did my very first one, it was very, very upsetting.
Yeah.
Because the lady turned around to me and said, "That's my husband, and I'd only left him an hour ago." And I went, "But she says, he's got dementia, dear." She says, "People told me this could happen, but I didn't believe it." It does happen. That part of the person has gone to spirit.
Yeah.
And when that part of the person goes to spirit, you can communicate. One of my wife's longest friends, her father lives in Australia. I didn't know at the time. She came to visit us and I went, "Oh, Julia," I said, "I'm so sorry." She went, "What?" I said, "I didn't know your dad had passed away." She went, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I've got your dad here." She went, "Tell me what he's saying." So I'm giving her all this information, everything. She burst out into tears. And I went, "I'm so sorry." I says, "I'll stop." She says, "No, don't stop, don't stop. Carry on." I carried on. I went, "What?" She says, "Me dad's still alive. It's me mum that's died." I went, "Right." She says, "But me dad is now in a home with dementia."
Yeah.
She says, "But everything you've just given me from him is what's happened in Australia in the last 48 hours. She says, "No, I've only found out about it an hour ago before I've come to visit you."
Yeah.
So, yes, if you're getting messages from dementia patients, and I will say as well, Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So yes, you can get messages because that part of that person has passed over.
Yes. I was doing a private reading for a lovely couple who've now become really good friends of mine. And I read for the gentleman, then I read for his wife. And I talked about a mother and certain other things. And I gave the name. And she was a bit confused and making notes. And then afterwards she said, "That was my mum. But like you've said, she's in a home up the street and she's got dementia." And that was the first time I'd ever come across it. And I said, "Well, all I can say is it was coming from her. It wasn't like a grandma that was passing on this. It was her energy." And I did a bit of research, and like you said, I realized that spirit part of her had crossed the body, and the rest of her was just waiting to catch up, sort of thing. And I mean, it happened to me again, and it was really funny because I was reading for this lady in a church, and I said, again, I was given lots and lots of evidence about a mum, and I said, "And I don't know why I see Elvis stood in the middle of the pew between you and the lady next to you. And he's in his white catsuit with the hair and doing like the Vegas years of Elvis." And she sent me a video of a mum who was almost catatonic with Alzheimer's, singing at the top of her voice with an Elvis impersonator who was visiting the home. And that was it. And she was lucid and she was singing. And so that was evidence that that's who I was connecting with. So yes, Belle, please, if you are getting messages from people who are living with Alzheimer's, dementia, any type of condition like that, yes, it's true. They have a foot in both worlds.
Yeah.
And just trust, like we've said, trust in spirit, because they are giving you the correct information.
Yeah. And just as well, Belle, you don't have to take my word for it and Tony's word for it, because when it first happened to me, I did question myself and say, can it happen? And I went to 5 other mediums that I've got a great deal of respect for and a lot of time for. And they all went, oh, thank heavens it's not just me that's getting them then.
Yeah.
So that answered my question. If you ask any medium who does platform on a regular, I'm not saying it happens every service.
No.
But somebody who does platform on a regular basis, so we'll say off the top of my head, I'll say 1 service a week. In 1 service a week, in about every 8th or 9th service,
yeah,
you'll get somebody like
that. Yeah. It's happened to me. I think I can think of 3 or 4 distinct times it's happened. It might have happened other times and people just haven't come forward and said to me, oh, that's my mum and she's got dementia. But I'm starting to recognize the difference in the energies. So I'll know that it's coming from somebody who's still carnate, i.e. that they're still in body, but the energy's coming through from them. It did shake me the first couple of times it happened.
Because it's quite the thing is, people, no disrespect to anybody who's watching in, and I don't want to put anybody off, but a lot of people go, oh, it must be great being a medium, you can bring so much joy and so much happiness to people. Yes, we do, but it comes with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Some of you have seen me work. I don't have time to process what comes in. It comes in, it goes out. But me and Tony were having a laugh before we started this afternoon. We've both got a little fail safe that our guides put in. Me, I start to stutter. Tony sort of stops. When that happens, either there's naughty words or there's something that we need to slow down and give a different way. So we may have been going at 90 miles an hour and everybody's having a good laugh and a joke, and suddenly the energy changed because something serious needs saying. So we do have a big responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
I never ever take spirit for granted. Like if anybody heard the opening prayer, on a daily basis, I'm very, very privileged to be able to do what I do. And I'm sure Tony is. And I never, ever take it for granted.
No.
Because the minute you start taking it for granted, it's taken away from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
can I just
go on, Tony.
No, I was just going to say, we were talking before and we said it's about spirit and it's about the people at the other end of the screen at the minute who are watching what we're doing and receiving the messages. And the minute I feel it starts to become about you as the medium and, oh, look at me, all jazz hands, then spirits start to think, no, actually, you're not working true through spirit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there isn't a place for the entertainer, because as mediums, we have to deliver that message. And we might be working to a crowd of 100 people. So it has to be, I don't want to say entertaining, but it has to be engaging in your delivery.
Yeah.
So there has to be a little element of your personality coming through. But on the whole, it's not about Tony Swindle standing up there on platform. It's about, I want to deliver to you the proof that you need that your loved ones have not died. The physical has died. The spirit continues. And that, for me, is our job as a medium.
And then, Tony, that's where that word comes back in again. Trust.
Yeah.
Trust. You have to, the biggest thing about being a medium, being a healer as well, you have to trust 110% in something that you cannot see.
Yeah.
And you are going against all the instincts in your body.
Yeah.
But you have to. I mean, I know it's probably happened to Tony. It happens to Nick Brown all the time. It's happened to me. I have had people come up and going, "You should be on the telly, mate. You're so funny." I'm going, "Hang on, you're talking to me now?" He went, "Yeah." I says, "You ask my wife." I said, "I'm the most miserable person on this planet." I says, "I couldn't tell a joke if my life depended on it." And they go, "But you're so funny up there." I goes, "It's not me, it's spirit."
It is. It's like, well, it is.
It's your personality.
It is.
But its spirit unlocks it.
Yes, they bring out something in you to make you their vessel of communication, which is what all we are. I don't know if that's the right phrasing, but it's, again, like we've said before, the first thing that comes into your head is from spirit. So it's in your head and it's out. So we don't have time to process what's happening. We just put ourselves in their hands, and away it goes. Oh gosh, sorry, I'm missing quite a few things. We've got lots and lots of comments coming through. I know, I'm struggling. Stacey Renshaw, why do most religions feel communication with spirit is bad and evil? Interesting, Stacey. I was talking to Nick Brown about this the other day, and it was really interesting. He used the word, in some religions we are seen as heretics, because they believe that once you've been called home to God, you can't come back. And what we do is some sort of witchcraft and things. I don't know why they think it, but they do. I've got friends in New Zealand, and he is very, very, very religious, and I've forgotten the particular brand, if you like, of religion he's with, but they're very evangelical. And when he found out what I do, he went away and scratched his navel a bit and did a bit of thinking, and he came back and he said, "Well, what I've concluded is God gave you that gift for a reason, and it's my relationship with God, and if I'm comfortable doing it, then who's he to judge?" And that's the way he put it. And we're still great friends, and he thinks it's wonderful that I'm studying to be ordained as a minister in the new Christian Spiritualist Society. So I guess what I'm saying before I hand off to John is, if you're doing this and you are struggling with your conscience, if you like, about what you're doing, it's your relationship with God, and it's God's path for you that you do this. And all I can say is, nobody should leave a service, a centre, a one-to-one reading, even one of these broadcasts, feeling worse than you did when you came in, and that includes the medium. So trusting God, trusting spirit, and you'll be led by them. Over to John.
Yeah. It's a way, if you like, of trying to keep us in our place and for them not having to answer any awkward questions. I'm going to try very hard here, because I'm a multi-faith minister. I've got to be careful how I word this. All I will say is, I was brought up in a very religious household, and it was a very religious household. And I'm the eldest of 3 boys. Now, when I was 17 and a half, 18, I didn't turn my back. I walked away from that religion, but I walked away from that life because I wanted more from life. So I joined the Air Force, and so I had a different life. Now, I never turned my back on religion. Religion was always there. And I followed my pathway and took me twists and turns and had a good life and started another life. And then I got into spiritualism. And then eventually I did my training and I was getting ordained as a minister. My youngest brother, he thinks it's great. He thinks it's absolutely fascinating. My middle brother, on the other hand, he's very, very religious. And I got in touch with him and I said, look, I'm getting ordained. Do you want to come? He went, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Now, these are his words. It doesn't matter. You're still my brother, is what he came back with. Now, you may think, well, that's a bit weird. It's not. Remember, we come from a religious background. I'm not saying what religion. And he is still a very religious person. And his answer and his way of dealing with it was, well, you're still my brother. So no matter what he believed and I believed, we were still brothers. I said, we always are, mate. I said, nothing's changed. We are still brothers. There's lots of other bits and pieces to it, but this is the important part. And for this, I'm going to say minister, so I don't get the religion that I'm talking about messed up. There was a funeral at the club that my brother manages. Well, wake, sorry. And at this wake, there was a minister. And this minister knew me from the age of 6 up to the age of 16. And he turned round and he was chatting to my brother about my younger brother. And then he started chatting about me. And my brother went very quiet. And he went, what's up? He said, you always talk about your big brother. What's up? He says, well, I don't know how to tell you this. He says, tell me. He says, well, he says, he talks to dead people and he's become a spiritualist minister. And do you know what this minister turned around and said? He went, hooray, fantastic.
Yeah.
And my brother went, but isn't that against what you teach? And he went, what we teach is one thing. What we believe is something else. And the bit then that made my brother cry, and I must admit it brought a tear to my eye, this minister sent me all of his blessings.
Oh, bless. That's amazing.
And he's quite high up.
Yeah.
Now, for him, that suddenly changed my brother's opinion.
Yeah.
So, in answer to your question, what goes on behind closed doors, nobody knows about.
Well, exactly.
People will say one thing in public
and think
say something totally else, different behind closed doors.
Yeah. Michael's just put a post up and he said, it all depends on the interpretation of the text. And that's, so yeah, I completely agree. I think that's wonderful. I love that. Sent you all his blessings. That's made me quite emotional, that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other questions or comments come up. But I'll steal a quote from Oprah Winfrey for a minute. I read one of her books and she was being interviewed by this guy, and it was coming to the end of the interview and he just leant over and he said to her, Oprah, what do you know for sure? And it made her sit back and think. And she said, can I come back to you on that? It's such a big thing. And she wrote a book about, and it's called What I Know for Sure. And she just goes through lots and lots of different things about her faith. So I'll ask you, John, what do you know for sure today?
What do I know for sure today? The only thing that I know for certain is that I'm going to die.
Death and taxes. Death and taxes.
That's the only thing we know for certain.
It is.
You're going to die.
When
people don't like facing it.
No, this is true. And just to follow that through a little bit, what I found now that I'm in this faith is I view funerals very, very differently now to I did prior, because now for me a funeral is a celebration of everything that all the experiences we had with that person in their physical body. And I use a funeral to celebrate that rather than to mourn the passing, because I know they're still around. And I guess I know that for sure.
That is, I do a philosophy on it, on death.
All right.
And people look at me and I said, before you start getting scared and running out the doors, just listen. And they went, what? I says, we all plan birthdays. We all plan weddings. We all plan christenings. We all plan big anniversaries. But the most important day in your life, which is you going home, you leave it all to chance. I have got an adage that I use. I'll cut the philosophy right down. But basically, a lady, very dear lady, very sweet lady, and there was divisions in the family. And she said that any of her spiritual friends who were going to her funeral, if they were ministers, they had to go dressed as ministers.
Oh, wow.
So we said, okay, fine. And as it was, there was about 15, 16 of us went. But we were all aware that there was divisions in the family. And the crematorium where the service was being conducted is a very, very big one. And they've got 3 crematoriums side by side.
Right.
So they have 3 services going on at the same time. Can you imagine walking through a crematorium, 15 vicars side by side? This place was packed.
Yeah.
And people go, go. And one of the undertakers come up and went, who's doing the service? And went, none of us, that one over there.
Yeah.
And we couldn't understand, because the other 2 chapels where the services were going on, everybody was going in. So we said to the minister who was doing the funeral we were going to, well, why can't we go in? She said, you'll find out in a minute. And this lady had written her own funeral service.
Oh, wow.
She'd written all the prayers. She'd written what the minister had to say about her. And she'd written all the songs. Now, you will like this, Tony. I don't know if anybody else will. And this is no disrespect to anybody, but this is the thought this lady put into it. She said, if the undertakers can't carry my coffin in to the tune that I have picked, I don't want anybody at my funeral. I just want me put straight in and away.
Yeah.
Now, we had a little joke about it earlier, but can you imagine a crematorium with whopping double solid oak doors? And it was like an old Count Dracula movie. You could hear the creaking door as it opened. And as this door opened, well, before the doors opened, we could see the undertaker swaying like this. So, what? And then they got the coffin out the hearse, and they're still swaying like this. And as the big oak doors opened, we're all blasted out with Spirit in the Sky. And they actually carried the coffin like that, in
Wow.
tune, all the way down. We were talking to them after the service. They practiced that solid for 6 days.
Wow.
Because,
to keep in step.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was this lady's specific wish. I'm going to cut it really short. Her brother and somebody else, you can imagine all the ministers, we're all bopping away to Spirit in the Sky. We're all singing it at the tops of our voices. Her one side of her family go, oh, look at them, look. This is supposed to be a funeral, not a party. Her brother walked in. He took a look at the family. He took a look at the spiritual people. He went, do you mind if I come and sit with you lot? He says, because that lot miserable as hell. Well, okay. Anyway, all this carried on. As I said, we spoke to the undertakers afterwards. We were all going to go to one of the other ministers' houses for a drink. They said, no, come to the wake. She wants you all to come to the wake. We went, all right. And we thought, oh, this is going to be a bit awkward because there's us and there's them. And then there's the other bit of the family stuck in the middle. We couldn't believe it. They all turned around. We all sort of looked at each other when we got there. We went, what's happened? And one of the young girls who we found out later was one of the biggest wooden spoon stirrers in the family. She went, thanks to you lot, Nan actually got what she wanted. I went, what? She says, she got the family back together. Which was something that didn't happen in life, but in her passing, all the family came back together.
It's healed.
And believe it or not, that family is still back together now.
Wow. That's amazing.
Us passing on doesn't mean to say it's the end.
No.
We still
live on. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Stacey, you did write a poem, and I'm going to read it, I think, on the next service I do. Stacey's just said she posted me a poem about the transition from life to death. Yeah. Well, if there are no more questions coming through, that was my last point on that.
Was it Stacey put, I wouldn't say I've ever been religious?
Yeah, let me find it. Yeah. There it is.
Right. Stacey,
is it that one? Yeah.
Yeah. You and anybody else who are struggling with the word religion and who are struggling with the word faith, I want to give you a third saying. And that is, when you've been around spiritualism for about 4 or 5 months, it suddenly becomes a way of life. But you have to be in it for up to about 18 months to 2 years before you suddenly realise that it's become a way of life.
Yeah.
So if religion is a hard word, and I know it is for a lot of people, and I know faith is a hard word for a lot of people, look at spiritualism as a way of life.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I like Michael's quote. No, not that one. Sorry. That one was nice as well, but I like that one. We don't pass on, we pass by.
Yeah. And we're only here for a short while.
Yeah. So grab it and live it. And I always say, people say to me, oh, but how can you believe in God when there's this going on and that going on and the other going on? And all I say to people is, these things are man-made, not God-made. And God is in our reaction to these things, not in like an illness. God is in our reaction to that illness, not in the illness itself. But it's been a wonderful hour and a quarter, John. Thank you so much for spending that time with me and for your conversation and for your thoughts.
Absolute pleasure. Can I just leave something with everybody, though?
Go on.
You touched on it right at the start. Well, near the start. What I would say to people, we've heard Tony's illnesses, you've heard about my illnesses. And this is very important, and you don't need to have had an illness to do it. I always say thank you when I wake up in the morning. And it's 2 thank yous. Thank you for allowing me to wake up in the morning and giving me another day. And thank you for bringing me through the night. And then at night time, as you go to bed, say thank you again. Thank you for the experiences you've learned during that day. Because no matter how hard your day has been, you'll always find a good point in it.
Yeah.
And you will always learn a lesson. So at the start of the day, at the end of the day, it's not a prayer. Just say thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. I love that, John. I really do. That's been great. There's more of these chats to come. I've got another 2 booked in. So keep on with that. I'm doing a service tonight with the White Feather Group, I believe it is. And Friday night, they have 2 physical centres, but they do Facebook live feeds, so it'll just be me and reading off comments. They don't bring people on like this.
All right.
So it's been it's going to be a different one. I've not worked like that for a long time, but that'll be good. Then I'm doing another live tomorrow night with Irene and Jean. I'm doing one tomorrow afternoon, but that's been broadcast live to Australia. A lady in Australia has asked me to do a live feed into her group. Nice. So that'll be interesting. It's 7 p.m. their time, and I think it works out to 11 a.m. our time. So yeah, getting my time references is going to be interesting there. But as always, keep an eye on John's Facebook page to see what he's up to. Have you got anything coming up, John, that you're working with?
No, well, I've not been putting anything on my Facebook page recently. Can't remember what I'm doing next. I've got you mentioned it. You can mention it to Linda next week. Oh God, what's the name of the place? Father's Day. Oh, I've got. I'm doing a divine service online for Orpington.
Oh, I've seen a couple of theirs. They're really good.
Yeah, if you remind Linda, if you speak to her next week, because I think that's Alan wanted to know if he could have permission to pass her number on to the booking secretary there.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because Alan's trying to get new people to go in.
Oh, Libby,
sorry.
Yeah. That's fine. I will.
So Father's Day, I'm doing their divine service. You can't see it live, but they put it up the following day.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for that then.
Well, they do it as a Zoom service, apparently. So.
Oh yeah. I've done one of those. It's a bit odd.
It is because you've got people popping up all over the place.
Yeah, and then you lose track of who you're talking to on the screen, and it was a bit strange, but I enjoyed it. I did one for Grimsby. So they do Zoom services. But again, thank you so much. I've seen lots of people saying it's been a wonderful conversation. They've learned a lot, which I knew they would. Would you like to do a closing prayer, John? Oh, what have you spotted?
Hey, Stacey, you've been in my house, John. I do that now.
Oh, the prayer, the saying thank you on a morning and thank you on a night, I think that was. So I think she's saying, oh, you must be in my house because I do that. Not literally you've been in her house, I hope. John. Yeah. Bit of a long travel. She's in Doncaster.
Yeah. And if anybody doubts that I'm not a minister, go on the OWL page, either Google or Facebook, and you'll see me with my collar on. And I am a senior minister now because I've been promoted. I got promoted 18 months ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm a senior minister with them. Right. Do you want a closing prayer, Tony?
Yes, please. Just to round it off and close the energies.
Heavenly Father, divine and gracious Spirit, I'd like to thank my guides and my inspirers for being close with me this afternoon. We would like to thank all the guides, inspirers and philosophers who have joined not only Tony and myself, but everybody else who's been listening in this afternoon. We ask that the energies that have been created between us all be sent directly to those people who are in need of its healing at this time, and also to this planet on which we live, which has undergone so many natural disasters. And don't forget our friends in the animal kingdom, because so many people today only have their pets for company. So we thank you for your patience. We thank you for your time and support. And we wish you a safe journey back to your friends and inspirers in the spirit world. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful afternoon, John. Thank you.
I know. I don't know where the time went.
I know. I can't believe it. Well, I hope to see you soon. I hope our paths cross quickly.
Yeah.
And yes, keep well, my friend. Keep well, everybody. And I hope God's love goes with you all.